Hello, welcome everybody to another Clownversation. Is everyone ready? I've got a cool guest today. He is Alex Sternick. He's the master of gibberish, professor of gibberish, I should say, and laughter yoga. And he does amazing things with people's dark sides and bringing them out and clowning with them. So stick around for this cool Clownversation.
It's just a conversation with a fellow clown. It's not very serious, we're clowning around. It's really just a Clownversation.
Yay! I sometimes think that guy looks a little bit sad, like he might need a hug, you know? Does anyone want to give him a hug out there? Guys, my name is Barnaby. In case you don't know me, I am founder of Clown Spirit, where we take the power of clowning and we use it to bring lightness, joy, and connection to your life and the lives of everybody around you. You are so welcome. If you're new to the Clown Spirit channel and the Clown Spirit family, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, comment in the chat, share this with your friends. Let's bring the love to everybody. Our mission is to unleash as many clowns into the world as possible, and we need your help to do that. So before I introduce the amazing Alex Sternick, who I'm absolutely fascinated to talk to for many reasons, for example, the fact that he is a committed Wim Hof Method Practitioner and presumably does a lot of this ice bath plunging and sees that it's very connected with his clowning. Really interested to talk about that, plus his involvement with laughter yoga, his use of Viktor Frankl's psychology or psychoanalytic approaches, the idea of positive stress, EuStress, self-clowning, and of course the whole gibberish thing and the fact that he's a professor of gibberish in an actual university in the UK. Before I bring Alex on, I just want to mention one very exciting thing coming up in the world of Clown Spirit. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole breakdown of everything happening. If you want that, you can just go to the website, www.clown-spirit.com, where you'll find all the amazing stuff that's going on. I just want to mention that in 2 weeks from tomorrow, that is on September 30th, we have a Clown X masterclass with the incredible Jeff Raz. Now, Jeff is an incredibly experienced, long-time professional clown going back to the Pickle Family Circus. He was a lead in Cirque du Soleil. He's written 3 incredible books, which I have right here. And if you sign up for the masterclass on September 30th, you're going to get an e-copy of this particular book included in your registration. This is The Secret Life of Clowns, a backstage tour of Cirque du Soleil and the Clown Conservatory. I forgot to mention, because Jeff's done so many things, that he actually was the founder of the Clown Conservatory in San Francisco. He is going to be teaching a masterclass which focuses on the idea of applied clowning. He uses clowning in his work with a company called Stand and Deliver. And he goes and he teaches corporate consulting workshops and trainings with companies like Sony, Invesco, Dell, Universal Studios, Lyft, and many others. And so what really fascinates me is, how does he work with this corporate sector? How does he convince people that clowning and theater is something that can really help them? And how does he in a way link those two worlds, right? The world of suits and corporations and lots of money with this world, this very down to earth kind of low status world of the clowning. So in his masterclass, he's going to be dealing with that in a very practical, hands-on kind of participatory, interactive way. It's Clown X, guys. Every month we have a masterclass with a master in clowning, and it's super affordable. There are annual plans or monthly plans. I'm going to put the link in the chat later on, and you can sign up for Jeff's masterclass later this month and all the future ones coming up. We also have an amazing back catalogue of archive of the past masterclasses as well that you get access to as soon as you sign up. So Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a quick message from our sponsor, Professor Teddy Love. Over to you, Teddy.
Hello everybody! Now, Mr. King and I are trying to grow this channel. We're trying to get the marvellous art of clowning to as many people as we can around the world. And there's so many ways that you can join in. You can hit the subscribe button below this video. You could give us a thumbs up. It really helps to boost the channel. Or you could get into the chat and tell us your thoughts, your questions about clowning. Or better still, you can check out our amazing Patreon site and find all the cool bonuses that you get if you become a Clownversation supporter. So many ways for us to get the clown out. Back to you in the studio, Mr. King.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Teddy. Looks a bit happier now, doesn't he? Okay. So Alex Sternick is a nutritionist and coach for humorous improvisation, nonsense, and paradoxical performance on stage. In his work, he helps people to accept their difficulties, imperfections, and challenges in life with the help of stage work and humor. Alex is internationally known as the Gibberish Professor and has been teaching intensive courses on Gibberish Improv, Zen Improv, and Nonsense in 13 countries, 3 continents since 2009. He was also the co-founder of the Laughter Yoga movement in Israel in 2004. As I mentioned earlier, he's a committed Wim Hof Method Practitioner and focuses much of his work on positive stress, or EuStress, and self-clowning. And his work is much driven by Dr. Viktor Frankl's legacy and his provocative and paradoxical interventions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome onto this Clownversation stage, Mr. Alex Sternick.
Alex
Sternick, Alex Sternick. Welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me and having this happening.
Oh, Alex, you're so welcome. It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for this initiative to bring this message to everybody in the world about positive stress. I think it's very requested, especially on those days, post-COVID. You know, we come deeper in that direction soon.
Yes, there's a little more stress in the world. Are you finding that there's more stress in the world now than the pre-COVID?
I think that pre-COVID, people could hide their sadness and their pain, their depression and their traumas. But then from COVID onwards, things popped up on the surface and people sometimes felt very, very in despair. They didn't know how to deal with all these traumas are now popping out on the surface and how to cope with it and how to play with it. And I think now especially that's the time to take more captainship and ownership on our health, physically, mentally wise, spiritually wise, psychologically. Very important. COVID was a great gift to us to wake up.
Right, to wake up.
As Wim Hof says, Corona is a crown. We need to walk as kings on this planet Earth. Corona, it's a crown.
Yes, that's right. It is. And I really want to come back to that Wim Hof stuff in a minute. I'm also going to encourage people to jump into the chat. I can see that some people have already. So if you're watching this, please jump into the chat and say hello. Say where you are today, what you're doing in your clown life. Maybe if you have any questions for Alex, we're going to be feeding those questions in throughout the conversation. So Deb Rich says, so happy to be here. I'm interested in applied clowning. I'm developing healing and resilience workshops for psychotherapists and childbirth professionals. Very cool, Deb. And Lucy says, nice to meet you, Alex.
Nice to meet you all over the world. Now we have people from many countries.
Yes, we do. Tell us what country you're from, folks. We want to make a count of all the countries. All right, Alex. Is it true that you are a gibberish professor?
Actually, you know, it's a joke, but I think that all the professors in all the universities, they are teaching gibberish, but they are not conscious to that, because the theory which is taught in university sometimes cannot be applied in real life. So it makes their non-gibberish as gibberish. So I'm the only one who admits, yes, I'm teaching gibberish.
It's probably gibberish to the student. Most of what professors say is gibberish to students in the ears of the students, right?
It's like, you know, there are many like professions that are taught, like the faculty for peace building. You know, I remember in Austria, it was one university that teach peace building. But then how you are going to apply peace building between people who have a big inner struggle, you know, and they didn't come in terms of peace with their own struggling pieces. Yes. So it all become gibberish when it comes in terms of university and academy and sometimes also research, you know. So let's admit we are teaching gibberish. Let's honor it. Yes, let's own it.
So, can you teach me some gibberish? Because I have to say I'm a clown, but it's not something I do all the time. So how do I start?
Yeah, we have to first to mention that gibberish is the first language of clowns, because the clown is the archetype that is always in the here and now. You know, the clown with the red nose. The clown cannot be in past and cannot be in future. That's the archetype of the present moment. So it's so gifted because, you know, present and gift is similar words. So the people who are not in the present and not in the, I mean, in the past or in the future, they can speak other languages. But the clown can speak only gibberish, because only in gibberish you can be in the present, because there is no meaning, neither to the context, neither to the words. Okay, so we have a big problem, or actually it's just a fact that people are so afraid of be sounded silly, or somebody will hear them talking in a silly, foolish language, nonsensical. So they are immediately they are feeling so much not comfortable in speaking gibberish, so they speak it very, very fast. And the words do sound as gibberish, and the whole language is sounding like gibberish because of this emergency to go back to the comfort. Because we look for reason for everything. We want everything really reasonable, logical. Yes. So and so people are very, very, they find it challenging to them to behave silly, to risk themselves, to risk their comfort. They are afraid of that, and hence it's so difficult to teach gibberish for some people. So I do vice versa. I encourage people in my work to give a full room to seriousness, but now consciously. Because when you give a full room to seriousness consciously, you accept your serious life unconditionally, and then you can move forward to be more playful, creative, silly, foolish even. And you know, when we mix over seriousness with a little bit of twist, like gibberish, it becomes a comedy. So actually, I encourage people when they do gibberish to try to imagine that they need to behave as serious as possible, but at their will. And here comes the difference. In my will, in my wishful control, I'm in full control. I want to be 20 times more serious than I am in life and speak gibberish, and then it works. How we do that? So if in that, usually when people speak gibberish and they feel discomfort, it sounds like children's gibberish, like blah, 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 and then everybody else in the street knows they speak nonsense, and maybe they go to call the psychiatrist to hospitalize them because it's not normal. I want to encourage people to speak it slowly, different words, so other people who are passing by, they will try to guess whether it is Norwegian, Hungarian, Serbian, Greek, German. So nobody knows that I'm speaking gibberish. And if nobody knows I'm speaking gibberish, I am the one who runs the show. So how we come to that? We start, first of all, we want to give some courage, some self-confidence to the people before they speak gibberish. So I will follow the exercise, and everybody can repeat after me. Say the same word I'm telling, and then it will give us self-confidence. With the gibberish, we go back, we go a little bit into the gap of the brain where the chattering mind is not there anymore, with its criticizing, self-criticizing, and then it's easier for us to speak gibberish slowly, surrendering. Slowly also. There is no need to hurry up to anything in life, right? So let's start. Brokspri. Come on, repeat after me.
Brokspri.
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 Jukalpaka.
Jukalpaka.
Sprukenfreud.
Sprukenfreud.
Igruftikachia.
Igruftikachia.
Abruximpricht.
Abruximpricht.
Bretemprakshu.
Brekemprakshu.
Broxamprufa.
Broxemprufa.
Jukilprixe.
Jukilprixe.
Jarkrofnecht.
Jakrofnecht.
Brockfechua.
Brockfechua.
Now we try to do some serious gibberish, slow one, word by word. Let's make up a language. Nobody can guess that's gibberish. Barnaby, ida breke fure xena indu du futu fukushiki chik shaforgensi.
Jobo gerechte bevaardigungskraps. Wo Bram?
Brands toxialum du furik semfero kentud in daxe in de botik fintor about the taxo mantel in depesho con.
Zajobo.
Indoxifixe atol.
It's a copo. It's a capo pulupo branchi coco stapajum.
Tetapai kintelek sentaye indo de putufidik sentovora psychologia in de folkopedixi in de froxofoike for drama teatro in de pulkofike de Turkia in tutse da stuxi into foto.
Stagio. Catabo.
Nate pelk se fenti se staxe fedoxum for le clown world in den de pulkifidik sentis taxaie petis texin du fikin to come so sai foto and duts Tito Furki Ferex un vote. Tito Fidi fare questi telefono in do Tucson de Stadt.
Clown. Iso I Razo Kokus. Stab I Skal Parabat Kortiker is cap choke the clown I Adasbu cat is Bramchu clown as Bramchu. Who got it?
Date prexe, ja der beetje schuckschei, sis de staxe vot font, in do fietsche stuk scheien du contempecan tu laxin, in de dekje vacht, in de beste staxe fesche futsche steigst.
Je blabab gobo, bezika bin bedibigi, bediklabodo, in au gogetige is gom bedubje kappa, biskaba clown.
Date in de exunte fotar, kindo voor de betis tek so vacht, en durokriegsentai, die de fotostaksje winnetje, moekje weer zo tokje en dat zakt, to tupi, to kwai felixum, en do spiritualismo, en dat porque fitis nekse foto voor de kriegstaksje niet test.
Alex, you're very, very good at that.
Thank you.
Do you have any feedback?
Not too hard. Say again?
Do you have any feedback for me?
I really enjoyed it. It was very, very, very well done. And I guess that if we were walking in the streets and trying to stick to people walking next to us, they wouldn't guess that it's gibberish by both of us. It would take them ages to guess it's gibberish with our hints.
Yeah,
You know.
I felt like I understood what you were saying, and we were talking about something quite intelligent.
Yes. When we in gibberish, the whole idea, like in life, because I want to connect everything to what happens in life, not to disconnect, is not to hurry up with anything. When we need to take decisions, critical decisions, don't take it out of emergency. Take it out of emerge and see, distance. And here also with the gibberish, I provoke people to take a distance, to do it slowly, not to hurry up with the words. Sit within the fire. Don't try over to kill the fire. Don't try to distinguish the fire. Be in the stress for a moment, in the discomfort. Try to enjoy it, surrender it. We have a nice for the Jewish people that listening to this show. We have a proverb in Hebrew that we say that the people of Israel, they went out of Egypt. Egypt is the metaphor of engagement, laws, rules, prison, and they went to land of Canaan, Israel, Canaan. Canaan means surrendering, the land of surrender. We want to surrender. We don't need to hurry up, because any choice in life coming from hurrying up is a wrong one.
Yeah, I felt while we were doing it that I think before, when I've done gibberish, I've felt this pressure to go to be very quick. And it was very helpful to just remember to slow down, like you said. And like when I speak, normally I'm quite slow. Like I take pauses, I go back, I repeat myself. I don't necessarily speak very logically, So in some ways, to give myself permission to do that in the gibberish was very pleasurable. Like I could sort of sit back and enjoy it more.
It's also easy because in gibberish, we want to stop the chattering of the left hemisphere of the brain. So we go into meditation. Okay, so it's much easier, even if in real life we are a person who is stressed and hurry up and want to do things very fast. In gibberish, it allows us just to come to our center in the world, which is unconditioned to anything, to our place in the world.
Beautiful.
Because we are off the mental, of the criticizing mindset, and the planning mindset.
Yeah.
And self-judgment doesn't need to be there when we are in gibberish. We go back to the wisdom of body, and we switch from the left hemisphere, which is critical. Usually there is a lot of self-judgment, okay, and the the self-controller and the self-balling. Sometimes we go into this right hemisphere, the intuitive one, the creative one, the improvisational one. If we talk about neuroplasticity, it's the new thing now post-COVID, to develop our neuroplasticity, the flexibility of the brain to adjust also when there are tsunamis and man, plants, and God loves things, and we need to adjust to laugh together with God. So with the gibberish, we train this muscle of the right brain, the right hemisphere. It's very, very important.
This is very, very fascinating. So Alex, could you say, right now you're in India, right? People haven't mentioned this. You're away from home. You're in India visiting, and India is a place you've spent a lot of time in. And so I was wondering if you could give us the little bit of background about laughter yoga and how you got into that. And
So actually, laughter yoga is also related with India because it was originated in Mumbai in 1995 by Dr. Madan Kataria, and in 2003, when I finished my nutrition studies and I went to India as a volunteer with a Baptist Christian family in Bangalore. So I had some accidental visit to a bookshop, and in India everything happens like accidentally. It's the place of synchronicities and coincidences, what we call. And my eyes just met a book about laughter yoga, written by Madan Kataria. I saw this on the front page, a picture of many people sticking their tongues out with the lion posture, the lion laughter. And it caught my eyes, my attention, and I opened the book, and I was reading in the shop already about the concept of laughter clubs in India, and it struck me because in my childhood I was very traumatized by events happened in my family around me in Jerusalem. I was never feeling happy or was very, very traumatized. So there are I had a lot of scratches on my brain physically as well due to many traumas and sicknesses of my parents. And I didn't know what is laughter, what is happiness. So I wanted to try it out. And I already tried other techniques like Tai Chi and yoga, and nothing really worked for me. And this was for me a butterfly effect event. It was a gateway to go deeper later on, because laughter yoga really served me for a few years. I brought it to Israel. I brought Madan Qatar. I started the first laughter club in Jerusalem, 2004. But very, very shortly after that, especially after I met with Dr. Annette Goodhart from Santa Barbara at the time, but we made a training in Denmark with her, with many laughter yogis, and she told us that we cannot really fake laughter as a form of exercise. It's not working out. And she was also mentioning it in her books that in the beginning she believed in fake laughter, in laughter which is stimulated as a form of exercise, and Madan Katare took it from her. But then she understood that happiness is the most important. And if you laugh and you don't make yourself happier because you didn't bring a full room to your sadness, to your pain, you didn't came in terms of peace with your sadness, then how you cannot be, your laughter will stay as fake forever. And she was actually very, very, very right. That's why laughter yoga for me was a gateway. For many people it's a gateway because we can see how we experience what we experience if we get some boost of serotonin and oxytocin, yes, and endorphins for 1 hour. And it should be, most of our day should be full of serotonin and endorphins, and of course, I would say even more important is dopamine level should be very high. But if inside there are traumas that are not treated, are neglected and hidden and covered up by laughter. So laughter, it's like you take a paracetamol or somebody smoke the weed. It's the same. So then we come to Charlie Chaplin, who said actually that to truly laugh, one should be able to take his pain and play with the pain. Playing with pain means self-acceptance, means giving a full room. And if we look on the real archetype of the clown is allowing himself, as you know, you're a clown. The clown allows himself to pass through all emotions on the spectrum, not only laughter. But the clown, when he's sad, he's sad on his will. He's fully conscious. He's fully aware. He gives a full room. Yes, the clown can exaggerate his sadness, which he is carrying in his life. But because of that, he's the only one who very near to happiness, because happiness is the flexibility to pass through different emotions on the spectrum.
So did you...
Anicca are impermanent.
Yes.
If you stick only to laughter, and that's the problem with laughter yoga, they stick only to laughter, and they are, how to say, they ignore the other spectrum on the the other emotions on the spectrum of emotions. Sadness, jealousy, whatever, sadness, pain, rejection, shame, meet them all, make friendship with all, and then come in terms of peace. Then you are more happy. But of course, this is the technique. This is the technique affiliated with laughter and clown world. There are also other techniques.
So tell me, so when you at some point when you were doing laughter yoga, you realized that it wasn't enough somehow. It wasn't complete. It wasn't necessarily dealing with you.
I knew it, but I was lying to myself because I really loved laughter yoga as a technique, because the exercises are amazing, but I didn't become really happier in my life. And I think this happens with many people. And we had a very big teacher in Israel for laughter yoga, one of my first, I don't know, students, how to call it. She was very famous in Israel with laughter yoga. And she was organizing many events and teaching many students to be facilitators. But as COVID came, she didn't know what to do with her own challenges and pain that popped up. And in the end, she hanged herself in a mental hospital. And it was, for many people, as a surprise, because she was always very happy superficially. I mean, on the surface with laughter yoga, but inside, she didn't allow herself to be sad. She didn't proceed the sadness. So I say, so laughter yoga cannot really help you to go into, it can assist you if you do other things. Because for me, the most important thing is not to laugh more, it's to be happy. When you are really happy, laughter is a side effect, is a byproduct of you being more fulfilled, self-contented. And you need to learn, we need to know how to generate endogenously, of course, endogenously and endogenously, the dopamine levels and serotonin, so we will be feeling at peak, that we are capable of everything. And there are various techniques to do that. We can come to there, and then we feel, wow, we are alive and young forever, not getting old and sick and weak. That's not normal. Animals are not sick and old. Animals are usually thriving, and when they are a little bit sick, they go on fasting, right? But we are all this old mentality of we are getting old with every year, and we need to go to the doctors and take pills. It's totally being incapacitated about our life, not really feel our life. And I want people to take captainship and ownership on their health, all physically, emotionally wise, spiritually, psychologically.
So tell us about the Viktor Frankl work and how you discovered that, and how you started to get into this idea of positive stress and EuStress, because I'm really fascinated by this idea of allowing ourselves to be sad, right? I think this is very, very key, maybe at the heart of everything.
Yeah. So actually, I developed my school of gibberish already from 2005, and I started to give workshops, gibberish workshops, separated from laughter yoga. I still did laughter yoga till 2016, 2015, a little less and less, but I still did, also trained leaders. But gibberish became something like, it was my center of life. It's my center. I'm gifted there. Everybody has something, one unique thing that you should follow it and fulfill your purpose of living. This is also Frankl. So I was giving some workshops in Europe from 2009 to 2013, maybe 7-8 workshops in a few countries. And then I contacted one German psychotherapist, Michael Tietze, Dr. Michael Tietze, Slovenian psychotherapist living in Tuttlingen in Germany. And I told him, I introduced myself. I said that I'm doing gibberish. And then he told me, you know something? Your work is very similar to mine. And I'm going to send you many, many articles I wrote, published. He also wrote many books. And he sent me his work for these articles about paradoxical interventions, intentions I applied for clown work. So Michael Tietze, he is the founder of the Clown Therapy Association, Clown and Psychotherapy in Germany and Austria and Switzerland, called Humor Care. And they use those techniques in mental hospitals with schizophrenic and with depressed people. He came to that idea based on Frankl's approach called paradoxical intention. Paradoxical intention is in intentions. Those ideas are introduced in at least in 2 books of Frankl. One is called The Man's Search for Meaning, the other called the the doctor and the anima or something like that. The doctor and the spirit, or the doctor and anima, something like that. The basis of the idea is, and now we connect it with Wim Hof, it's whether you come to the stress or the stress is coming and eating you. Now, how it's done. So, for example, a person is suffering from a shameful behavior, or guilt behavior, or rejection behavior, fear. So instead of always protecting yourself out of the fear, you are going to exaggerate and maximize it out loud on stage. Frankl was not doing it on stage because he was telling guidelines to people. But in humor drama, what Michael Tietze has established 40 years back in Germany. So if, according to Frankl, if I quote from his book, Man's Search for Meaning, it was a person who had a fear, existential fear, that every day he may experience a brain stroke. So Frankl told him, stand in front of mirror and say, today I'm going to have a stroke, and then fall down, exaggerating. Feeling the fear truly, profoundly. Now you become the captain, you become the victor, you become the owner of it. Then, as we know how it works in homeopathy medicine, similia similibus curentur, treat the same with the same. He gave the full room to that anxiety of having a stroke. Little by little, the power of this anxiety is going to weaken and weaken, disappear. So you come to the stress, or the stress is coming to you. You have the freedom of choice to decide. If you are suffering from anger mindset, angry behavior, and you have no control upon it at all, so I would suggest to a person like that, go to your anger now consciously. Decide, today I'm going to be the most angry that I can, and do it consciously. When you do things consciously, you come to that distance and you befriend in the angry part which lies inside you. It is given a full room. Now you can choose to, little by little, to go out of it. But first you have to go to the stressor to meet it, better playfully. So you can, and playfully, when I say playfully, I say through exaggeration and inflation and maximization. Because when you make it bigger than it's really in life, you have some control upon it. Because you do it in controlled way, okay? Otherwise, it's capturing you. You became hopeless.
I'm getting it.
This is the idea of Frankl in his theory. Humor drama, when I was introduced it from Michael Tietze, it was already with theater orientation and clown orientation. Okay, so if a person is suffering from a shameful behavior, he comes on stage, okay, and he tries to bring all the story he believes, which is affiliated to why he has this shame. And if there is someone to blame for that, please blame them. But then I will do a bypassing intervention. When I say bypassing interventions, it means that I also, together with this story, I want to shut down the brain, the left hemisphere. So I will handle the protagonist, maybe a glass of water. He will talk with the water in his mouth, try not to spill, neither to swallow it. But then it becomes very messy, and the water goes on the floor and goes on his shirt, and he becomes to laugh on the tragedy. So we want to take these tragical things and actually make it ridiculous. Or he will try to sing it in some very high toned voice like this, but to tell something very, very tragic. And when you mix something which is too serious for you with some clownish intervention, it becomes comic, and you accept yourself having that vulnerability. First of all, accept yourself unconditioned to something. Love yourself unconditionally, Devote and dedicate to yourself unconditionally. Also with that imperfection. With that imperfection. And this is done through humor. This is the clownish inversion or clownish intervention, as Michael actually established it. And amazing work.
Can
Amazing.
you give me the name of that, Michael
Titze, Titze.
Okay.
And he based everything on his personal training in Vienna with Frankl.
Right.
So Frankl from Vienna, Alfred Adler had a very similar approach, okay, called anti-suggestia. And then a more radical, more left-wing social worker from Wisconsin, from medicine, Frank Farrelly, in the late 90s, came with a very similar approach called provocative therapy. It was even more radical than this one. And so all this anarchist intervention where they blend comedy and clowning with psychology, psychotherapy, and it works.
I have a question, Alex. And by the way, I'm sure lots of people watching.
That's positive stress, by the way. That's a personal example of positive stress applied for the clown. And I say there are other bypassing methods.
Yes. Great.
Go on.
So you talk about, doing these things, and you say the words on stage. And I assume you mean potentially in a workshop as well, in front of other people. But what if, is this something you can also practice on your own? So if you have, to do this micro dosing of stress every day in front of a mirror, like you were mentioning earlier, or is it best to actually, like, if I'm going to confront my anger and I'm going to play out my anger and make friends with it, is that relevant or helpful to do it in public environments, like outside, when I'm going about my everyday life? Or is it something that I would do like a training in my house? Or do I need to go to take a workshop? Both.
Both. I mean, in the master class or in the training or in the workshop, there is some efficiency for the fact that there is a public, that you imagine you're requested to say something which usually you kept to yourself as a secret in front of public. It gives you a lot of power. You own the situation. You are the owner now. You are the victor. You run the show because you have the courage to admit to everybody about your vulnerability or a secret. Maybe you stole something in the supermarket when you were aged 4 years young, and you felt so much shame about the stealing of this I don't know, confetti. I don't know what exactly. But now you tell it out loud, of course, through clownish intervention. But also at home, if you have enough discipline, you can do things in front of mirror. Or you can decide, today I'm going to be the most angry person in the world, so I can win a Nobel Prize for that. And then you will consciously play very angry with everybody you meet. But you do it out of playfulness. So you become the clown. You do it at your will. So it's very, very also effective. It might be more difficult for some people, but you can do things also. That's the positive stress. You train the muscle. You expose yourself to the thing you're so much afraid of. In a micro dosing, as you said. It's like with the mushrooms. It's a micro dosing. And then the muscle becomes stronger. And stronger and stronger. And then you come in terms of peace with this angry part inside you. I don't say anger is a good thing. Anger is totally not necessary, not essential to serve our existence. But we cannot ignore the angry part or piece inside us. We have to treat it with self-compassion. It's a different thing.
There's something
we need to love the angry part inside us. We need to love the violent part inside us. Not to kick it out. As if we kick it out, it becomes bigger, bigger and bigger, and it will be ever last forever.
Har
The truth.
apachico or rapatic skubashikara go baskam
Exakt. In the breite feature Schurkshan, ja third fixture. It's the same when we talk about EuStress practiced from the ice water immersion or cold therapy. It's the same thing. What people do when it's too cold or too hot. Usually we want to be in comfort zone. So if it's too cold, we will put a jacket or we will put a heater. And if it's too cold, we become naked. Or we go in, we take some icy, we drink cold water.
If it's too hot.
We cannot be for a second, we cannot sit for a second next to the fire. We need to kill the fire. That's the thing. No, now let's go to the fire and sit next to the fire. Let it eat us a little bit.
I suppose it's similar to sweat lodge. You know, the experience of being in a sweat lodge. That decision.
In a way, yes, because that's the stressor. But when I come to this stress voluntarily, I do it also voluntarily. Also, I am the one who controls it.
I mean,
So
it's an active choice to be very uncomfortable. To sit
that's the difference. That's the difference. We take the choice. It's like let me quote Viktor Frankl, and he said that between the stimulus and response, how I respond to a situation out of emergency or out of distance, between stimulus and response, there is a space, this gap, the gap of no thinking. And in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. We need to respond and choose not out of emergency. Because any choice, as I said in the beginning of this talk, is a wrong one. Now, when I sit in the ice, or when I do the deep breathings, like Wim Hof breathings or other hyperventilation, what Dr. Stanislav Grof has been teaching.
Who?
Dr. Stanislav Grof, the psychiatrist from Czech Republic, who lives I think in Oregon or California, I'm not sure. Because he was a teacher. He was a teacher in Esalen Institute.
A breath
but
technique.
He lives the breath. Yes, holotropic breathing, the hyperventilation.
Okay.
Whether we do that or we go to the ice, we go to that distance, that gap where our chattering mind is in stillness, completely stillness. We go into meditation, complete stillness. Because when you sit in icy water, you don't have time to think about your overdraft. You are in this survival mindset, emergency. It's whether you do these fast breathings and you keep this tragic feeling, this emergency, this ambulance mindset, or you just relax and surrender and you breathe through your nostrils, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. But mind is not there. And of course, after two minutes, this emergency feeling is little by little disappearing and the parasympathetic activity is taking over. And you sit there and you're in totally bliss and stillness. Now you can take any choice, any thought. You can come with any inspiration. Now, if you take any thought out of gap, it will be a good thought. Also, your body is flooded with dopamine. Dopamine is the hormone of performance, peak performance, performance efficiency, and happiness. Serotonin is another neurotransmitter of happiness. And the good news is that we are able and capacitated to do it at our free will. Okay? So here, also this work is connected with Viktor Frankl, because now we are totally in freedom of choice to choose something which serves our existence or serves our being, instead of choose something which against ourselves. Sometimes we choose something which is not benefiting us, not favoring us, but something which is poisoning us.
So
Yes.
the
Go to the gamma. It's the gamma delta theta waves. The brain operates on gamma delta theta waves on this gap where there is stillness. Now there you can deprogram the old belief system thoughts and reprogram a belief system which supports vitality. Our vitality, our aliveness, okay? And live according to that. Now it goes to run the show because it will be there already in the subconscious. Reprogramming, epigenetics as well.
Do you do the ice water plunge daily or regularly?
Few days a week. But for the last 2 years, it's actually also saved my life because I also needed to come in terms of peace with my personal inner struggle. I had many of them. It almost took me out of this world, to be frank. I had to work on my own enemies to make, you make peace with the enemy. You don't kick it out. You have to be friend with your enemy inside you first. Well, if you want to make peace with your opponents, first come in terms of peace with yourself. So I needed to take charge of myself. Of course, I did it first. Firstly, I decided I'm going to do that because I was in this unfathomable despair. I had no choice. This cul-de-sac. They call it in French cul-de-sac. It's whether you take the responsibility to yourself or you handle it to others. That's not the best choice. So one of the ways who really supported me was the ice plunge and the breathings. That's why I'm very committed. And one day I'm doing that, then one day I'm not doing that because I don't have it now in the place where I stay. But once I will have it, I will probably do it daily. But it's enough 2-3 times a week. I sit there, 3 minutes are totally enough. And then your day looks different. You can do whatever you want with less inner struggle. Things are coming to you more naturally. You become a channel. More synchronicities in your personal life is a good signal.
Did you go to train in the Wim Hof method in some way, official way? Did you train?
Yes, I did a first exposure, first workshop with one Israeli instructor who trained with Wim. And since then, I did my personal practicing. But this year, on March 23, I went to the Carpathian Mountains in south of Poland, and I met Wim, and we were 300 people together doing this 6 days challenge in the mountains, in the snow. It was around 0 degrees, snowing daily. And it was amazing experience with people from 48 countries. And I had, of course, very good connection with the Palestinian ones and the Jordanian ones, because for me, it's very symbolic. I always tried, when I was doing laughter yoga, I used to bring Jews and Arabs laughing together in peace gatherings. I really believe that laughter can bridge the gaps and maybe weaken the animosity between people. Now, I think it's much deeper than it. Let us plunge together.
Wim Hof.
Let us first come to terms of this.
Yeah.
Say again?
Wim Hof seems like a very clownish kind of character to me as well. Very free in how he speaks.
He is. Yes, he is, of course.
So
very
before
happy
we finish,
from inside.
Alex, we have a few more minutes. I'm interested in, because you take from many different things, there's the laughter yoga, there's the gibberish, there's the Viktor Frankl work, there's the Wim Hof work. And these things all they're all valuable in themselves. You could just do one of those things and it would be very strong and valuable. But somehow by combining them, does it become stronger or does it become weaker? Or how do you think
If you
about combining these things?
For me, I'm integrating all of them.
Mm.
I understood from the ice plunge, which is all about positive stress, and the breathings also it's positive stress. I understand from this how humor, drama, and paradoxical coaching work. I understood better how it works. I understood what is the value to go voluntarily to the discomfort, how to train your muscle, how much it's so much efficient instead of always covering up or hiding. Like I see many people from the vegan movement or the fruitarians, or many people who are abstain of different food items. They are afraid to expose themselves to the poison. I say, but if you don't expose yourself to the poison, one day you will consume a small poison. It will kill you. But you need to expose yourself to the poison little bit to build the resilience. Let's build the resilience. So instead of hiding up and covering and abstaining, let's build up immune system, immunity, so we can ingest some poison and it's not going to kill us. This is very, very, very important now, especially after COVID. Instead of taking medicines and pharmaceutics or something to prevent some future disease, let's build up our immune system so we are always thriving. We always feel good. So we build the muscle in general, the muscle of happiness, the muscle of resilience. Okay, so also if we get the bacteria into our bloodstream, we can conquer the bacteria. We don't need to come into septic mindset, 42 degrees, and maybe die. But we can build up the inner resilience. And so when I started this, I understood exactly how Viktor Frankl's and how humor drama works. That we are going to clown our shame, to clown our guilt, to clown our rejection, the fear, make it bigger. Let's make friendship with our inner struggling pieces first. We want to remove them, that's fine. I don't say it's good to carry the shame all your life. But first, make a friendship voluntarily, consciously.
Joanna,
let it evaporate.
Joanna Bassi, I don't know if you can see the comments there, Alex, but Joanna Bassi says, Laga popo minsta bri, ikenagados pa medo gnu. Care to comment?
Dite prekse fece sturks, atau.
Zaga,
in the bromaju, in the prixe forxe ferexe fornotendoro, firoxe fexai, kite furcote la distancia.
I shame babaru is good.
Not the proxy for the proxy. And I just want to say that if somebody wants to experience, we are having next month one training for days in Bourgogne in France. If somebody wishes to
Bourgogne, okay, yes.
Bourgogne, voila.
Bourgogne, where the Burgundy, where the very very good wine.
And I also agree on that.
So, Alex, where can people go to find out more about your workshop or to sign up?
So if they write my name, Alex Sternik on YouTube, on Google, I have also a website which is not very active. On YouTube, there is a lot of material. Now I'm going to publish another article in the Positive Psychology News Today magazine, online magazine, about EuStress, about what we have been talking here, the positive strength and its relation to the clown therapy, because that's the thing I am actually practicing.
I'm very excited about your work, Alex. I think it's really, really wonderful and important, and I'm fascinated how you're bringing all these different threads together of health, physical
So much.
health,
Yeah.
mental health, nutrition, and emotional health, and this whole area of creativity and improvisation, and giving the brain this space to that you were speaking about, this space between stimulus and reaction, right? Because I think that this is the only way that we can really create change in the world, is by intervening in that space between stimulus and reaction, because we're so programmed to react in certain ways. And I think the clown's job is to interrupt, right? To get in the way of that automatic reaction and to create something new and different in the world. So I'm super excited about your work, and just want to say thank you so much for
this
coming on.
This beautiful chance to be here and to spread the word out and to really provoke people to take charge on their health. And it's better to do it playfully, not to take it too seriously. Do it playfully also. But it's a good news now to know that we can have control upon our mental, emotional health, and of course happiness. Viktor Frankl also said that happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. And when you are always attuned to your unique purpose of living, which brings you self-contentment, you also become happier. But how you know what is your unique purpose of living? Because if you think about it, you sink. Thinking is sinking. So you should go to that gap, to that distance, to that gamma, delta, theta waves of the brain. Then things are channeled to you. Then you may know your purpose out of mental distance. Then stick to that and follow it.
Wonderful.
And everybody has a different purpose.
Thank you so much. And thanks, folks, for tuning in today. And next week, I'm going to be with Mark Sternick, who is an actor and physical comedian from New York. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Alex, thanks again. Thanks once more.
Thank you so much. And may the farce be always with us and with us, us and us.
And you.
Amen.
And
Bye.
you and us and all of us. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Bye. Arrivederci.